In big news today from the national capital, all stray dogs in Delhi NCR will be shifted away from residential localities, and any other organization that blocks this exercise will face strictest action, said the Supreme Court. The top court's significant order comes amid a rise in cases of dog bites and deaths due to rabies. The Supreme Court has issued a 5-point directive to ensure all stray dogs are moved to shelters in a phased manner within 8 weeks of this order coming out. Visuals on your screens of some of the recent dog bites that have been captured on CCTV camera. Now, practically speaking, viewers, this seems like a tough task. In theory, the Supreme Court has now put out the reasons why this must be done, because of course, we do not want to go back to a time where rabies was rampant. However, NewsX is now presenting a 5-point plan to help solve what is a complex problem, but one that needs to be solved. Priority number 1 is public-private partnership to set up the shelters. You cannot expect all the dogs in Delhi NCR to be rounded up in 8 weeks. Where exactly will they go? And I will request our crew upstairs to please pause on the point that I am addressing at this point in time. We're moving a little too quickly. So let me start from the top. Okay, I'm going to start with point number 1. This is what NewsX proposes to the stray dog problem. Yes, we accept that it is a problem. However, we must understand that it is too complex a problem to be solved within a span of 8 weeks. But if we were to undertake that exercise, what is it that we would need? Priority number 1, as per us. Priority number 1 is public-private partnership to set up the shelters. Let's stay on this. Public-private partnership to set up the shelters. There are not enough shelters in the national capital region to house all the stray dogs. We urgently need everyone to come together. This is not a problem that can simply be dumped on the municipal corporations, that can simply be dumped on the government of Delhi or the central government that operates out of Delhi. This will require all of us to come up as citizens and put together a private partnership, public-private partnership to set up state-of-the-art shelter homes that have the capacity to house stray dogs. Priority number 2, we must announce a fund to generate public contributions for these shelters. Like I said, we today struggle with the basics sometimes as far as human beings are concerned. Where do we expect the money for this to come up from? But I know personally, and I'm sure you know personally, many people who would not simply want the stray dogs to be culled, but would be willing to contribute monetarily. And money is a big part of this. Funding is a big part of solving the problem. So we all know, I'm sure, people who would be willing to contribute to a fund that must now be set up immediately so that people like you and I can contribute whatever it is that we can generate and help our municipal corporations and the government solve this problem, like we do for disaster relief and all such other matters which are societal problems at large. We must do the same for this problem as well. Priority number 3, all dog catchers must go through a training program. This is critical because a lot of times there are videos that circulate which show the inhumane manner in which stray dogs who may not have a history of aggression, who may not have a history of violence, who may not have a history of a temper or even biting, are rounded up in the most inhumane manner possible. They're dumped into trucks, then they're taken to shelter homes, and we all know very well what happens there. Why do we want to do that? Why is it that we can't go through a training program? So it's our appeal now that all dog catchers must go through a training program. Priority number 4, we must involve all resident welfare association heads. This is critical because a lot of times, and I'm sure you know this as well as residents of Delhi, that there is a debate that continues between those who wish to care for dogs within the societies and those who perhaps find them to be a menace, those who want to get rid of them. Both have some merit to the arguments that they make, but it's important that this particular exercise that the Supreme Court now expects all of us to do is done with the cooperation of the resident welfare associations as well as those within societies who look after the stray dogs. They can be of great help in terms of rounding up the dogs, in terms of helping the government and public bodies figure out the next best steps. So this has to be done in association with our RWA heads. And priority number 5, we must prepare a cost estimation as well. The average lifespan of stray dogs in India is anywhere between 12 to 15 years. Rehab process can take 7 to 8 years as well. So all of this will require a cost estimate. It's very easy for an order to, of course, come out and give us instructions. But like I said, ultimately it all boils down to the money and the intent of the people, whether they want to spend that money, whether they want to spend those funds towards this cause. We cannot become one of those countries that are now put out as examples in stray dog management and welfare until and unless we have a clear cost estimate. What does it cost to feed these dogs? What does it cost to run a shelter? Priority number 6, we must now also look at making comprehensive adoption programs. I know that there is, especially in Delhi, a clear sentiment that one must adopt breeds. You must look at adopting the best of breeds. You must look at adopting the breeds that are not even meant for the temperatures of Delhi. And we completely forget that ultimately, at the end of the day, a dog is a dog. The only reason and the only way that this particular exercise can ever be successful is if we ensure that all the priorities that we have listed here on NewsX are taken seriously.